G'day team, welcome back to another Champions analysis video where we're going to be looking at how Team Liquid won 4 eco rounds against PRX on Haven. Going to be looking at the team strategy that they employ and how they capitalize on the mistakes that ultimately led to PRX losing 4 anti-eco rounds. This is how to win more eco rounds in your matches. Okay, so we're going to be starting with round 2 here where PRX actually lost their first anti-eco of the match. Team Liquid do a little cheeky thing here. They buy a couple of sheriffs in this round, which is one of the big reasons that helps them win. So as we move into the start of this round, you can see we get some early aggression from both teams towards A. They're contesting for that A spot, and then Liquid automatically get themselves... Sorry, PRX automatically rotate off that. They see that there's a couple of people there and head towards C. Now, what's really interesting about this position is that Liquid is already playing sort of grouped up. PRX is playing grouped up, but they've started to split a little bit. Now, if we go back, so it's at this moment where PRX actually split up into a squad of 3. Is getting dogged. There's the Sky Dog, the Trailblazer, out ahead of Forsaken and Jing. Then Mind Freak is coming up long, and Benkai is trying to set up a lurk to catch any rotators coming through B. Now, what I don't like about this is they have the gun advantage. If they just run it through as a sort of death ball, as we've seen in the past from other teams, for example, like Leviathan on their Ascent pistol running around like a death ball. It's even more potent when you have the gun advantage, I think, especially with Spectres. There's such run and gun potential. And it gets shut down here just because a little bit of bad positioning and a really great counterplay from Team Liquid. So running through here, Yampy is in this great off angle, which I think is one of the strongest things that you can do when you're on the eco. Is with this, the chamber, the headhunter is so strong. It can outduel effectively. It has the potential to outduel any gun in the game. It's a one-shot headshot from any range. So you get this off angle, which allows you to get this first shot and get out. What is really important here is that Yampy just gets one and gets out. He doesn't try to fight for both. He just takes his one and gets out, gets the advantage that he has. So he kills Forsaken here. Jing's unable to trade him because he comes back to the smoke. And then they swing out together. So all of a sudden, Jing's swinging into 2 Team Liquid players here.
Yeah, he may have missed the first couple of shots in the first round, but he's not missing it.
Yampy gets the kill. And now Mind Freak, Devi, and Benkai are all separated. And look at this. Look at this line of players from Team Liquid all running to group up together. What happens is Mind Freak is out on site alone before Devi's even on site. And then Devi swings out alone. And he's like, oh shit, I'm alone. I'm going to back out. Look at the Team Liquid players all playing together. And then he gets out, and Benkai's got this kind of nice positioning towards A, so they start going towards A. They don't know if anyone's lurking. They have no way to clear anything out. And so we skip ahead a little bit. They eventually get the plant down on A. I don't like this plant position. I think it's really, really odd. I'm not sure exactly what they're trying to do with that. And here they sit on site. So Devi and Benkai, they're just... Benkai's clearing out sewers. Yampy's picked himself up a Spectre, and Scream is a little bit late. In the 20 seconds that we just skipped, they sort of sit around waiting, and I would have liked them to maybe push into Garage to try and get this Spectre early so that they could rotate together, because Scream ends up being a little bit late to the party. So that's just a small thing. But so Scream picks up this Spectre, Yampy's got a Spectre, and then they've got 2 sheriffs, and Navira has a shorty. Maybe they should have given Navira a different gun, but it works out just fine because here they are as a 4 with a little bit of one trailing. They look to push into site. Now, I wish Devi had have gotten this aggressive a little bit earlier because they're down in numbers here. They need to try and create some picks. Fortunately, He's going to get stunned off the angle, and then I really don't like this angle for him. What I would have preferred is that if he peeked this angle from just outside hell, or even pushed from outside hell, and then fell back towards hell or fell back towards mid-site, because there's nowhere to go for him here. He can't duck behind cover. He just has to stick the fight. And in a 2v5 situation, you're just going to get swarmed. Benkai does the right thing in trying to swing off of his contact, but there's just too many players. Liquid all just funnel into the site all at once. Benkai gets an early pick, but look, there's just so many of them. Too many for them to deal with, and Liquid perform a 5v2 retake. All right, so here we are coming into round 5. We have a half buy from Team Liquid. We've got 2 Stingers. Scream's got the Vandal, and we've got a Frenzy and a Classic. No ult for Yampy, but he does have the Headhunter. So they have a decent sort of look in here. Only 4 Vandals on PRX's side as well. Not the full 5 Vandals. So not a complete full buy, but close enough really that it's not going to affect the way that they play this round too much. But it will come into play later on. So they're going to get some early aggression from PRX towards a long. No look into sewers at all until the dog comes through. Soulcast just tries to get a little bit aggressive here and try and play for his life. He ends up getting into sewers, which is a safe little pocket, little off angle. They're not really looking towards him, but Divide comes swinging and Mind Freak swings it as well, killing him through the box. And so here we have a 4v5 with gun advantage for PRX, or a 5v4 for PRX. Forsaken's a little bit hit. He's playing really aggressively and forward here, and then Devi, in going to check the flank down long, gets picked off by Yampy in heaven. So this is partly to do with team comp, and I don't know if this is a purposeful pick for Team Liquid. I have to look at more of their history. That's not really what this video is about, so I won't digress too much. But Team Liquid have Omen, and Omen's lurking. They haven't seen him. They don't know where he is. The flank watch is Cypher's tripwire, which Omen can just TP past. So unfortunately for PRX here, they don't have just like a full secured flank because of the Omen TP. If they had Astra on this team, they would have pretty much a secured full flank, unless like Scream was on the flank and he satcheled over there, but that's super unlikely. So they have to be worried about the Omen. Devi walks down right as he turns to check long. Yampy gets a really nice timing, so a little bit of luck on their side there, but Yampy just peeked out at the right time. Mindfreak gets the plant, and that gives him his last ult point to get his ultimate, the Astral Wall. And as you can see here, that it's bad. It's a bad wall. And Yampy notices this and takes advantage of it. Pops out. He's got 1 bullet left in his Headhunter, and he's going to pop out of the window. They notice the wall's bad. Bang. Wins the duel against Mind Freak. And now we're on. Now Forsaken's 1 tap. He's got 6 HP after the Raze nade. Benkai only has a Classic. He's because of the threat of the wall. Because the wall's bad, he's unable to run down here and pick up a Vandal. So he's left with a Classic. Bad positioning from PRX there. They're also, because of this plant, they have to play forward here. The spike's planted right about here. So in terms of where that is on site, it's underneath Jing here. Which means they have to fight up against this wall with guns that are designed to fight long range against this swarm of Team Liquid, who get to take advantage of having a close range fight. Team Liquid play this really, really nicely as well. They just group up here. They get 3 players in behind this wall. Dimasic comes and joins, and they just wait for it to drop. Yampy gets cheeky and tries to get a knife through the wall, because you can do that. You can knife. All of the players here for PRX are all super split up. Jing's going to peek this angle as the wall comes down, and he's looking at 3 of them. Neither Forsaken or Benkai are there to help out. Benkai only had a classic. Forsaken's on 6 HP. Jing, best case scenario, he hits an absolute banger of a shot and he's able to get out. But when you're looking at 3, so it's a one. This is effectively a 1v3 playing as a team. Team Liquid doing the right thing. They get the kill. They swing as a team onto Benkai. They swing as a team onto Forsaken, and they effectively get 3 1v3s.
And that is now another lightish buy from Liquid that they pull out and win against.
And so it just shows this swinging as a team, especially when you're trying to bridge the gap of gun advantage or gun disadvantage. It just works really, really well. PRX set themselves up in a weird position with a weird plan and a couple of mistakes coming in, like that Astral really allowed for Yampi to create that opportunity for Team Liquid to get into the win for that round. Round 19, we have a complete full buy, full utility for PRX. We even have an operator in the hands of Forsaken. On the hand of Team Liquid, now this is where I think they play this round really well and they understand what kind of round that they have. They have a full save effectively. Only Dimisic has a primary weapon, everyone else on secondaries, and that primary is only a stinger. So it's not much for primary anyway, even though the stinger is goated. Trust. And they have 4 ultimates. So Yampi is going to activate his Tour de Force, which is why they're going to end up coming down C long. We have the Showstopper and we have the Nightfall and we have the... What's Omen's ult called? Shrouded? No, Shrouded Steps the TP. We have the Omen ult. And so they're going to look at this C push. And let's just see the start of the round, how it plays out. So they flash out to get Yampi onto the angle. It's not just a peek, and they stun as well. And so that forces Forsaken off of the round. The smoke comes out, the haunt comes out. And so now this is where Liquid really flex their muscles. With their gun disadvantage here, this is a really deep smoke from Mindfreak. I definitely would have preferred them to smoke further back down in cubby, not allowing them to get all the way up long. But Team Liquid take advantage of this as well. They get themselves all the way up long. Dimisic's lurking here with the stinger as well. I mean, when you've got the disadvantage, you can play away. You can do those things where you can play away from the team and try and get the cheap picks and turn those cheap picks into gun upgrades. But we have the rest of the team grouping as a 4. So I think the 4-1 strategy is quite nice. Here we are. They force their way into sight. The Showstopper comes out. Jing, thinking that he needs to help sight, drops down. Dimisic swings off of that timing, shoots him in the back of the head and picks up his Vandal. Now Mindfreak is playing this really ratty position on site. Again, when you have the gun advantage, you don't need to play these ratty positions because you've got nowhere to go. This is the same problem that Devi had in the previous round where he was tucked in a corner and he might be able to get 1 or 2 kills, but eventually he is going to die and give away the gun. This is exactly what happens with Mindfreak. He hits 2 great shots, Scream and Navira. Yampi comes around the corner and trades him off. And so we're back down into a 3v3. Everyone's got guns now. They get the plant down. This would be a great time for them to swing while the plant is happening. Take advantage of a 2v3. But they decide to wait. Benkai then walks out without his team. So what's happening in the communication of PRX? Because Benkai's already started moving this way. Yampi also TPs away all the way back down here after planting, which I don't understand why. He's going to end up trying to come through B, so we'll look at the timing of that later. But they could have just fought as a 3 on site. Soulcast still yet to pick up a gun, even though there's guns around too. So let's see how that plays out. Benkai walks out ahead of the rest of his team. Ahead of the Skydog, Devi tries the Skydog for him and the timing's all whack and Benkai goes down because he wasn't patient enough. Then Forsaken and Devi actually split up and we have a bit of a duel. We could have both fight the same guy, which is fine. Then Soulcast trades out Forsaken and we get left in a 1v1 on site, which Devi wins against Soulcast because he flashes the shit out of him. And then here we have Yampi coming in late to the party. Now Yampi, I think Yampi plays this really poorly. The fact that he even TP'd out with that, with the strongest gun on the map,
He has a blind opponent in front of him too.
and then And then he could just hold this angle. He could even hold it a little bit deeper. He can see Spike from here, right? He's playing in garage. He knows exactly where Devi is. He can hold, if he stands further back in garage, he can hold an angle which Devi can't swing him on and has to force the tap of the Spike. Now he does get a good timing here because Devi comes around. He's jumping around, making lots of noise. Yampi just checks this angle. Just checks this angle. And then we get left here where Devi and Yampi are about to be staring at each other. But what if Devi ended up checking from the other side of box as Yampi peeked this? It's just an unnecessary risk where you could get timinged on yourself and you don't need to take it, because if Yampi's scoped in looking at that box, there's no way that he kills Devi on the other side. Devi just shoots him in the side of the head. So they do get away with the thrifty. It could have been a little bit cleaner once they had that advantage on site. Yampi TPing away, I think, was a little bit of a troll, but it works out in the end for them. And here we come to the fourth and final anti-eco that PRX loses, or the fourth eco that Team Liquid wins. And this, I think, is the most remarkable one, because we have 3 ultimates on the side of PRX, full buy and the operator. We only have 2 guns on Team Liquid's side. They have to force up as much as they can. Here we go. Let's just watch the start of this round. As you can see, we're lining up for the wall bang and they get it. So it's a 4v5 to start the round. And then PRX do something super duper good. They just stall. They say, all right, let's just regroup. Let's just play passive, play safe. Let's figure out where they're going to come to. And there's nothing that Team Liquid can do. They just have to sit and wait. And Yampi's trying to look for a pick. He's trying to get a cheeky pick in the smoke here. And PRX aren't going to give it to him. They play smart here. They re-smoke off this angle and everything. And then Team Liquid, after farting around for a little bit, well, not farting around, but, you know, there's nothing much that they can do. They're going to start looking towards A. And then we have that same sort of strategy where the rest of the team is grouping up away from Yampi, and Yampi's going to be looking for that pick. PRX just play this really, really safe. I don't like Jing coming to check this because they have the tripwire here in B. I think PRX should just be playing off of B. Jing could just be playing on site here with Devi, which will allow them to take a more aggressive stance on A. And then they've also got the 2 players here on C. Forsaken's in a hard spot to get away from, but he's looking into garage, playing for garage control. And then Mindfreak's looking down C long. So they're getting a lot of info off of these 2 players. Got a lot of info off this trip. And so Jing's kind of in a wasted spot here. But Team Liquid, to their credit, play it well. Here they so they're looking up towards A long now. They haven't seen them yet. The Haunt comes out. Nade follows in too. And so this pushes Benkai off. And so I want you to look at Devi's positioning here. On the map, on site, he's all alone. They know that at least 2 players are here and probably 3. Maybe even 4. Depending on if the chamber's here as well, because you're not going to be dumping all this util to run onto site with only half your team alive. So you could expect the Omen here, guaranteed, with the, we've already seen Raise and Fade util, and then you have the Omen smoke as well. So he's probably with them. We don't know where the chamber is, but he could be here as well. What does Devi think is a good idea? To swing the angle with, he's got 2 flashes in hand. He's got heals for his team. He's on site alone. Benkai's been forced off the angle. He can't fight with him. So what's the communication like going here for PRX? And to Scream's credit, he hits an absolute banger of a shot. You can see he's checking sewers here. Devi whiffs. And Scream just 90-degree flicks him in the head. Even if he didn't, Devi would have been traded there, and it still would have been at disadvantage for PRX there in a 1-for-1 trade. So they're trying to do stuff. Scream uses a nice little satchel to keep Benkai off this angle as well, from stop him from getting any ideas. They get the plant down in the default position. And then trying to get ahead of them, PRX dash in here. And look, honestly, I don't mind this play. It kind of just creates a mess on site, and they try and think with their gun advantage they can make it work. But Soulcast just spams against the Jet knives, which are not good at close range with that left click. Forsaken not choosing to do the right click for some reason. And now you get left in a 2v3. So what do Team Liquid do? They group up and they wait for this lurk to come through. Yampy finds a really nice timing on Mind Freak, and now Benkai is in an unwinnable position. He really needed to go downstairs and try and take the fights, because as soon as he falls onto the ground, he just gets shot. Nice little shot from Yampy with the Headhunter, and a great execute from Team Liquid, and a horrible retake attempt from PRX. And this was a common theme throughout all of PRX's rounds. They would just try and take these not only 1v1s, but 1vx fights where they just didn't need to. Where so often PRX had the advantage, and they tried to cement that advantage by putting themselves in disadvantageous positions, because sometimes those plays pay off and they end up winning the round that they probably would have won anyway without those plays. But it is their style. I think PRX will learn. Well, they might learn from this. I hope they would have learned against it from Leviathan, but they're still making those same really aggressive pushes out, taking these really unfavorable risks. I'm all for risk taking, but they don't do it in the right way, in my opinion. They do it when they have the advantage, not when they have the disadvantage. So yeah, I think Liquid played these ecos really, really well, and they gave themselves to their credit, gave themselves the opportunity to win these ecos by grouping up, leaving the one out in the lurk to get those cheeky picks as well. And I think they played them really, really well. I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself now, so we'll probably finish up there. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I'm doing these daily uploads in case you're not aware. So please subscribe if you like the content, leave a like and a comment, and take care. Have a good one.